Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Continue breathing in and breathing out. Let's be centered throughout the session. And be willing to forgive yourself. It's not that we haven't forgiven ourselves. It's not that we do not want to forgive ourselves. It's not that we always want to feel guilty and punitive. For most reasons, for most stories, we often forgive ourselves. However, we do get stuck when it comes to certain stories. Some of the reasons why we choose not to forgive ourselves is the fear of making the same mistake time and again. Choosing to suffer by feeling guilty because we see ourselves growing internally, spiritually, and professionally through our suffering. Choosing not to be fortunate when others are lesser fortunate, to be like all of them. Need to belong, and hence going through your own suffering and needing some amount of guilt and stories related to guilt to continue suffering. And eventually, need for personal evolution. Let me explain to you what do I mean by need for personal evolution. Forgiveness for some people who are still managing with their root chakra means not to physically harm. Forgiveness for people who are at their sacral chakra is not to emotionally be in pain or not to be harsh and hard on self. Forgiveness for people who are at solar chakra means not to get stuck and giving self the permission to flow well in life. Forgiveness for people at the heart chakra is all about granting yourself permission to love and be loved and opening up to self love. Forgiveness for people who are at throat chakra is about not to feel small, inadequate, inappropriate. Forgiveness for people who are at the third eye chakra is all about permitting self to enjoy the fulfillment of dreams, ideas, and vision. And forgiveness for people who are at the crown chakra level does not exist because they're aware that it's a larger plan, larger design. Things couldn't have happened different way. There's no separatedness from the divine, and whatever happened was the divine plan. Neither were you beneficiaries of what was done through you, nor are you the responsible one. Things happened through you. And there was a plan in place. And aligning to the brilliance embedded in the greater plan. So people who are at the crown chakra often choose not to suffer, not to feel guilty, and yet acknowledge that perhaps things did not go as per the social norms. The ethics, or even the legal system. And yet there is a plan in place. And they remain in complete surrender and alignment. They have to neither forgive themselves nor seek forgiveness. Again, the guilt that we often face can be of different levels. One is that at the level of conscious mind, when we go against our own norms and expectations. It could be a trivial thing like, I forgot to send a gratitude note because it's a social norm to say thank you for caring gestures from others. Or I parked the car which created inconvenience to someone, and then feeling guilty. Guilt can be at the subconscious level, where you know that ethically what you're doing is okay, legally what you're doing is okay, socially you are well within the norms, and yet somewhere you're not right. Somewhere something is missing. For example, as a mother doing everything correct for the child, and yet feeling guilty because you know that you do not love this child as much as you love other children. Nobody's blaming, nobody's complaining. But as a mother, you know it. And the worst form of guilt is at the soul level, where you're aware that you're here for certain action plan, participation in the larger project. You're here for a certain role play. You're here to contribute. You know it, and yet you do not know it because some of those commitments are not acceptable at the conscious level. What if you're born in an urban setup and your soul calling is to contribute to the villagers? You may remain in the city amidst all the comforts and luxuries, and yet you may not be able to enjoy, or you will rather not allow yourself to enjoy fully. You may sabotage subconsciously a lot of opportunities to be happy because you know that in this moment you're not where you're meant to be. Fortunately, the solution is very, very simple. And the most powerful mantra is, I forgive myself. I forgive everyone. And it's liberating. Let's recite this 21 times silently. I forgive myself. I forgive everyone. 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 I'm going to continue with a few more radical statements. My guilt is my soul's love. My guilt is my soul's love. My guilt is my soul's love. My need for guilt is my soul's love. My need for guilt is my soul's love. My need for guilt is my soul's love. My reasons for the guilt is my soul's love. The reasons for the guilt is my soul's love. The reasons for the guilt is my soul's love. The brilliance in the guilt is my soul's love. The brilliance in the guilt is my soul's love. The brilliance in the guilt is my soul's love. My resistance to let go of the guilt is my soul's love. The resistance to let go of the guilt is my soul's love. The resistance to let go of the guilt is my soul's love. I revive, recognize, realign, reorient, and reposition my guilt. I revive, recognize, realign, reorient, and reposition my guilt. I revive, recognize, realign, reorient and reposition my guilt. With soul's love, I transform and transcend my guilt. With soul's love, I transform and transcend my guilt. With soul's love, I transform and transcend my guilt. I solve my guilt. I dissolve my guilt. I resolve my guilt. I co-solve my guilt. I supersolve my guilt. I solve my guilt. I dissolve my guilt. I resolve my guilt. I co-solve my guilt. I supersolve my guilt. I solve my guilt. I dissolve my guilt. I resolve my guilt. I co-solve my guilt. I supersolve my guilt. I see my guilt. I feel my guilt. I acknowledge my guilt. I love and accept my guilt. I honor my guilt. I honor the brilliance in my guilt. I am the guilt. The guilt is me. I see my guilt. I feel my guilt. I acknowledge my guilt. I love and accept my guilt. I honor my guilt. I honor the brilliance in my guilt. I am the guilt, and the guilt is me. Radical consciousness is purifying, energizing, completing, grounding my guilt. Radical consciousness is purifying, energizing, completing, and grounding me with my guilt. Radical consciousness is purifying, energizing, completing, grounding, and protecting me from my guilt. I admit my guilt under the loving care of radical consciousness. I admit my guilt under the loving care of radical consciousness. I admit my guilt under the loving care of radical consciousness. I awaken forgiveness. I awaken the forgiven me. I awaken forgiveness. I awaken the forgiven me. I awaken forgiveness. I awaken the forgiven me. I awaken the reason for forgiveness. I awaken the reason for the forgiven me. I awaken the reason for the forgiveness. I awaken the reason for the forgiven me. I awaken the reason for forgiveness. I awaken the reason for the forgiven me. I awaken the brilliance in the forgiveness. I awaken the brilliance in the forgiven me. I awaken the brilliance in the forgiveness. I awaken the brilliance in the forgiven me. I awaken the brilliance in the forgiveness. I awaken the brilliantly forgiven me. I awaken the brilliantly forgiven me. I awaken the brilliantly forgiven me.